Good morning, friends. This is Desigan, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, King's College of Engineering, Punalkulam. So, in Computer Aided Design and Manufacturing, ME 8691, in Unit 3, CAD Standards, today we are going to discuss about the graphical kernel system. This is one of the most important exchange standard that we are going to discuss brief. So this is the syllabus of the second unit. The second point itself we have graphical kernel system. So GKS, that is graphical kernel system, can be called by the user program. It is a user program carried out in certain generalized functions such as arc, ellipse and circle. More and more dimension can be drawn with the help of this graphical kernel system. It will give the user program to draw this type of generalized functions. It is a standardized system of graphical function for processing graphical data to create and process 2D images. There must be some 2D images are available means it is having effective graphical function and its processing. And graphical kernel system is implementation have been made by many hardware manufacturers in many languages. So these are all the layers available in graphical kernel system. In this graphical kernel system we have three important layers. The first one is application program, the second one is application oriented layer, and third one is language independent layer. So graphical system contains three layers. The first one is application program layer, second one is application oriented layer, and third one is language independent layer. These are all the three major layers available in graphical kernel system. So in application program layer, the effective output can be manipulated into graphical form. In application orientation layer, the graphical format can be converted into machine level format. In language independent layer, it is totally independent of language, so it accepts only images. The next one, what are all the basic features of graphical kernel system? The first one, it is independent of device. It is whatever it may be the input device and whatever it may be the output device, the graphical kernel system can accept any type of input and any type of output it can be produced. And all text annotation and natural languages are stored in GK, so it can be used as a machine level language and assembly level language, as well as program coding language also it can be used. Whether in terms of images or in terms of graphical format, we can use both 2D and 3D. You can use both 2D and 3D can be functioned by using this graphical kernel system. In this graphical kernel system, there is a coordinate system that is available in worldwide. So we call it as normalized device coordinate system. This coordinate system can be available and can be usable in any type of format in worldwide. So we call it as normalized device coordinate system. Then classification of graphical kernel system functions. So this is the classification of graphical kernel system function. The first one is control function, second one is output attribute function, third one is output primitive function, Primarily we have to know what is primitive and attribute. The primitive is means the essential data required for the output, but attributes means what are all the things came as output, we call it as attributes. The next one is segment function. Segment is uh, a packet of data or some related data and its function. Transformation function. Next one is input function, and seventh one is metafile function. Metafile is nothing but getting information from the internet and to be stored in a system device. And the inquiry function. These are all the graphical kernel system function available in general aspects. So we have a output primitive and output. Already we discussed about output primitive and output attribute. The attribute may occurs in color, line, width and line and its type, but primitives are circles. That means primitive means the circle can be available only one in the total output program. The next, in GK system, what are all the examples we are using? First one is polyline, and second one is polymarker, and third one is text, and the fourth one is fill data. The GKS inquiry system contain various types of functions that are used to find current status of any variable in GKS, and it can be predefined. That means it can be isolate some special variables, that is called transformation and clippings. Next, GKS input function. In this function we can give by means of keyboard or either by means of mouse or some joystick, whatever may be the external output given devices, we can give simple GKS input system. Metafile function. Metafile is nothing but, already we discussed what is metafile. Metafile is nothing but a file that is obtained from the internet or e-resources, and it can be converted into system used format, and it can be stored in a file. So it can be independent format handled by any type of devices, that is we called as metafile. These are all the important points about graphical kernel system. And the graphical kernel system itself contains some important and relevant data of computer aided design standards, especially when an image format is uploaded or downloaded from a system or a software. It can be easily manipulated and processed by this graphical kernel system, and graphical kernel system itself act as a machine language, assembly language and coding language. These are all the briefs about graphical kernel system. Remaining we will see in the next video. Thank you.